Welcome to the class. We'll chant the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahi Dadati Swapadantika Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutane Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratashe Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Mancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We welcome you all and extremely sorry for the inconvenience caused due to change in class timings due to unavoidable circumstances. So I'm in Mayapur. I don't know how many of you have heard about this place. It's the birthplace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and ISKCON has its biggest temple in this small city. It is a city where people from around 70 countries live, and they are all devotees in ISKCON society. So it's a wonderful place. If you have not visited, once in your life, you should visit this place. It's amazing. We'll start a new chapter today, chapter 18. That's the last chapter of our Bhagavad-gita study in this course of Gita Sastri. You are almost at the end, the last chapter of the course. So it has been a wonderful journey studying Gita with you. And for those who are doing Bhakti Shastri also, for you, this is the last chapter of third unit. So let's discuss this chapter. It's the conclusive chapter, the longest chapter of Gita. And the title of this chapter is very interesting. In Sanskrit, it's called Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Now, before we jump into this chapter's discussion, we'll do Bhagavad-gita Mangalacharana. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Fullarvindayata Patra Netre Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Amrita Duhe Namaha. So we have been for last so many months drinking this nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita as is being supplied by Lord Krishna. So look back. Which previous chapter of Gita was a summary of it? Request the devotees to put on their video cameras if they can, please. Which previous chapter of Gita was a summary of Bhagavad Gita? All of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, yes. Chapter 2. That was the summary of Bhagavad-gita given by the Lord in the beginning itself. Like the introduction has always the summary of what's going to be discussed. So chapter 2. And this chapter is again a summary of the Bhagavad-gita. It covers everything that was explained in Bhagavad-gita. Do the three modes make the escape from material life complex? Yes, no. No. So the answer is yes. Definitely, it makes it very complicated. It makes it very, very complicated. It's not easy. Can an activity within three modes help us transcend the three modes? No. So this chapter is very interesting. Let's look at the title of this chapter. The title is The Perfection of Renunciation. People who come from an impersonal school of thought, they think the perfection of life is renunciation, tyag, or vairagya, or sannyas. But actually, that's not the perfection of life. The sannyas is for a goal, tyag is for a goal, and that goal is devotion to Krishna. So this chapter teaches us that even the idea of moksha, which is generally a very prevalent idea amongst Hindus who are strongly rooted in Sanatana Dharma, for them, the goal of life is moksha. That's all they can talk about or think about. But actually, this chapter is entitled Moksha Sannyasa. Moksha Sannyasa means giving up moksha also. And going beyond, means there is something beyond moksha. I was explaining this to a group who had come to Mayapur for parikrama. So I explained this to them. If there is a very naughty child, not just naughty, also not good in character and not at all responsible. So if that child squanders the money, hard-earned money of his parents, definitely the parents will not be happy with that child, right? So that child may do so throughout his or her life. And when that child comes of age, let's say 40, 45, 50, and that person may think, oh, I was quite wrong in my deeds. Now let me change. At least now let me not waste my father's money or my mother's money or whatever. So that person may come out of that wrong mentality and actions and then not squander parents' money anymore. The idea of moksha is something like that. I have been living a very sinful life. Now I should stop sinning. I've been very bad. I earned money in a dishonest manner. I was very cruel to people. I was very arrogant, and I did not care for anyone. I did not respect people around me. So now let me stop being a bad person. Now it's okay. Life has almost passed over, a few years to live. Let me live at least not a bad life anymore. Moksha is something like that. But a father or mother will not be happy with that child who will just stop doing bad things. The father will expect that child will sometimes, come to the father and say, can I massage your feet? You must be very tired. You have been working very hard throughout the day. Let me do some seva to you, some service to you. Or father, can I help you in your business so that we can expand your business, grow your business? Can we do something for you? Can I take you to the hospital? So father would expect that, okay, my child should come to this level. He should be doing some loving service to me, right? Bhakti is something like that. It's not just about stopping to sin or stop doing the wrong things. It's about coming to the realization that now let me try to give pleasure to Krishna. Let me try to give satisfaction to God. So that's why that is even higher than renunciation or higher than moksha. It's beyond moksha. So this chapter is actually called the perfection of renunciation. What is that one word answer to this word, this statement, the perfection of renunciation? Devotional service or bhakti. That's the perfection of renunciation. So this chapter is aiming towards that. Now this chapter will have the summary of all three main sections of Bhagavad-gita. Anyone remembers what are the three main sections or topics of Bhagavad-gita? What are they? The three big chunks. Karma Yoga, very good. Next, Jnana Yoga, very good. And the third, Bhakti Yoga. So first 12 verses of this chapter is a summary of the first 6 chapters of this Bhagavad-gita. First 12 verses. In 12 verses, Krishna summarizes the entire first 6 chapters. Okay, then the verses 13 to 40 is the summary of the chapters 13 to 17 of Bhagavad-gita, which is the Jnana Yoga section. Krishna summarizes in 28 verses, chapter 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, and then Krishna starts talking about bringing the person to Bhakti Yoga. And finally, he ends there, culminates Bhagavad-gita there. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. So brings a person to that level. Okay, so this is how we understand this chapter. So let me see if I have something to ask you. In this final chapter, Lord Krishna gives an overview of Bhagavad-gita and stresses that bhakti is the ultimate goal of life. Krishna reviews that dutiful, detached work is true renunciation, which brings no reaction. So Karma Yoga, superiority of working in devotion, something which Krishna discussed in chapter 3, 4, 5 of Bhagavad-gita. He's basically summarizing that here. Let's look at the Sanskrit verses. Arjuna uvacha sanyasasya mahabaho tattvamichhami veditum tyagasya cha rishikesha prithakkeshi nishudana. Shri Bhagavana uvacha kamyanam karmanam nyasam sanyasam kavayo vidhuhu sarva karma phalatyagam prahustyagam vichakshanaha tyajyam doshavat ityeke karma prahur manishinaha yagyadana tapah karma na tyajyam iti chapare. Nishchayam shinu me tatra tyage bharata sattama tyago hi purusha vyagra trivida samprakirtitaha yagyadana tapah karma na tyajam karyam evatat yagyodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam etan yapitu karmani Sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani time partha nishchitam matamuttamam. So Arjuna asks a question here. Now, if you go through the revision video, which I'll be sending at the end of this chapter, I explain the mind of Arjuna very nicely in that video. I hope you are watching those revision videos or overview videos. They're very helpful to get a complete understanding of the chapter. So, because Krishna in the previous chapter told Arjuna, everything is affected by modes, Arjuna is thinking, in chapter 1, I told Krishna, I don't want to fight. I wanted to give up. So was that giving up mentality also controlled by the modes. Can someone give up in goodness? Can someone give up in passion? And can someone give up in ignorance? So I wanted to take sannyas. My sannyas, was that a decision in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? So Arjuna is thinking like that. That's why he's asking question to Krishna here. Arjuna said, "O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyag, and of the renounced order of life, sannyasa. O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses." I wish to understand. He's requesting Krishna. So we'll quickly read the purport here very nicely. It's being summarized. The chapter is being summarized by Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Nagaraj, you can start reading.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Actually, the Bhagavad-gita is finished in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is a supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. This same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotional service, yoginam api sarvesham. Of all yogis or transcendentalists, one who always thinks of me within himself is best. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service and its nature and activity were discussed. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature and transcendental nature and devotional service were described. It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by the words Om Tat Sat, which indicate Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of Bhagavad-gita has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. This has been established by citing past Acharyas and Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. Certain impersonalists consider themselves to have a monopoly on the knowledge of Vedanta Sutra, but actually the Vedanta Sutra is meant for understanding devotional service, for the Lord himself is the composer of the Vedanta Sutra and he is its knower. That is described in the 15th chapter. In every scripture, every Veda, devotional service is the objective. That is explained in Bhagavad-gita.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, just one more paragraph I'll read. As in the second chapter, a synopsis of the whole subject matter was described. In the 18th chapter also, the summary of all instruction is given. The purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of the transcendental position above the 3 modes of material nature, or material modes of nature. Arjuna wants to clarify the 2 distinct subject matters of Bhagavad-gita, namely renunciation, tyaga, and the renounced order of life, sannyasa. Thus, he's asking the meaning of these 2 words. So he's asking Krishna, what do they mean? And he's addressing Krishna as Rishikesh and Keshi Nisudana. So Arjuna's question is, what is the goal of renunciation? And what is the goal of renounced order of life? Krishna may tell Arjuna, have I not already explained this to you before, Arjuna? So Arjuna is telling Krishna with the name Rishikesha. Rishikesha means one who controls the mind, the intelligence, and the senses. That Krishna, you are controlling my mind. You are controlling my intelligence. So you are inspiring me to ask this question to you. So please answer my question. So then Krishna may joke and tell Arjuna, so you mean to say I am putting all the doubts in your mind? I am creating your doubts. I am making you doubtful. So if I am creating those doubts, why are you asking me to remove those doubts? This is just a friendly talk going on between them. So Arjuna then says, you are Keshi Nishudana. He says, just like the demons are ultimately born of you, but you only kill them. So this doubt is produced by you and you can only kill it. So you remove the doubt, So he said, you are Keshi Nishudana. You gave birth to the demon Keshi and you killed the demon Keshi. Similarly, this doubt is produced by you, and I'm asking you to kill this doubt. Please answer this question. So now Krishna begins to give different opinions of different personalities about these two subjects, sannyas and tyaga. Second verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas. This is not Krishna's opinion. This is what great people say, learned people say. What is sannyas? Giving up activities that are based on material desire. That is sannyas. Kamya karmas. We already explained this before. Kamya karma. What does kamya karma mean? And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation or tyaga. Giving up the results. You don't give up the activity, you give up the result of the activity. That's called tyaga. Next verse. Some learned men, some other learned men, they declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty. And some others, sages, maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. So Krishna is giving out different opinions which people may have. Some people say this, some people say that. So then Arjuna says, what is your opinion, Krishna? What do you say? What's your opinion? So Krishna then begins to give out his opinion in verse number 4 onwards. What is his opinion? So we'll read the verse 4. Let's read. Nishayam shinu me tatra tyage bharata sattama. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of 3 kinds. Which 3 kinds? I hope you can guess. Renunciation in goodness, renunciation in passion, renunciation in ignorance. 3 kinds. So he will explain them in detail, but then Krishna, before he goes to that, Arjuna asks Krishna that, what about yajna, dana, and tapa? Should we give them up? And Krishna says, no. Yajna, dana, tapa, karma, na tyajam karyam eva tat, yajyodanam tapaschaiva, pavanani manishinam. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. Not just impure souls. It purifies even the pure souls. Now, one who is pure, why that person needs further purification? Because there is no limit to purification. It can always go on and on and on.
Because the person is working, is living in the material world and is can anytime be affected by the 3 modes of nature. So that's why this has to be a continuous activity.
Okay. And what else? What else? Yes. It purifies even the pure souls, great souls. One may think, I am now pure, so I don't need to now act in these manners. Stop acting.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Because it has been advised in Bhagavad-gita, so I think they'll do like that.
Okay, fine. It's very simple to understand. You have cleaned the room, but the next day, some more dust will come inside. So you have to clean again. The way to keep the room clean is to always, every day, keep on cleaning it. Because new dust may settle inside. So the nature of this material world is that dust may come and sit on our mind naturally. So you have to keep on cleaning. Then that dust will not stay. So that's why the great souls, they keep on engaging in these activities. Yajna, dana, and tapaha. austerity, charity, and sacrifice. Like here now, those of you are not aware, we are participating in Parikrama in Navadvip. So there are so many different groups, international group, Hindi group, Russian group. I think Snehal Mataji is sitting in the camp, in the tent. Yeah. So
Yes, Ravati.
yeah,
Hindi
so,
camp.
Hindi camp. So, you know, there are different places where devotees are camping at night, sleeping in the tent, taking bath in the river water, you know, getting up early in the morning and walking for almost like 10, 15 kilometers a day. The roads are not nice and many of them are walking barefoot. So this is austerity, tapasya. And there are some devotees who have been doing it for last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, still barefoot walking for 15 kilometers in the sun, in the strong heat, so much of dust. So why? Because it purifies even the pure souls, taking that austerity of being in parikrama with devotees. So like that, even the great souls are purified. Now let's read the purport here. Very interesting purport. Surekha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Sadhu Pranam. Purport. The yogis should perform act for the advancement of human society. There are many purificatory processes for advancing a human being to spiritual life. The marriage ceremony, for example, is considered to be one of these sacrifices. It is called Vivah Yagya. Should a sannyasi who is in the renounced order of life and who has given up his family relations encourage the marriage ceremony? The Lord says here that any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivaha Yagya should be encouraged even by persons in the renounced order of life. Who low stage of life, a young man should not accept a wife in the marriage ceremony. Described sacrifices are meant for achieving the Supreme Lord. Therefore, in the lower stages, they should not be given up. Similarly, charity for the purification of the heart. If charity is given to suitable person as described previously, it leads one to advanced spiritual life. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So Vivaha, marriage, is a yagya. It's not party. It's a yagya. It's a purification ceremony. But nowadays it's more on celebrated like a party, marriage party. But actually it's a sacrifice. It's a ceremony. Gone are those days when marriages program would go on for 7 days, 10 days, you know, so many ceremonies to be held. Now, because of budget consideration, everything has to be finished in just a couple of hours. Otherwise, the bill will be quite heavy, you know. So finish quickly, everything should be completed. But that's not really then the spiritual aspect of it is not covered, or the religious aspect of it is not covered. It's a yagya, it's for purification. Next verse. All these activities should be performed. Now Krishna is explaining the attitude in which we should be doing all this. Means the three things. Yagya, dan, tapaha, how they should be done. So they should be done in particular attitude. What is that? They should be done without attachment or any expectation of result, which means in mode of goodness. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pritha. That is my final opinion. So it's not that anyhow we perform these activities. We have to perform these activities with this attitude. Then it purifies the heart. It should be done how? Two things mentioned: without attachment or expectation of any result, as a matter of duty, which means in mode of goodness. Then these three activities, yajna, dana, tapaha, it brings out purification. So it's a nice lesson here for us to learn. Perform the good acts, purify your heart, and then set a good example. Three things. You perform first the right things, do the right things. Those activities should lead to purification of one's heart. And then one should set a good example for others to follow. This is the summary of the Karma Yoga section of Bhagavad-gita. Why perform one's karma? For purification of heart. That should be the goal of doing anything we do when it comes to karma or our duties. Why? For purification of heart. That's the purpose. Then Krishna begins to explain now the three types of renunciation. Renunciation in goodness, renunciation in passion, ignorance. In verses 7 to 12, Krishna talks about that. Okay, let's read the verse number 7. Niyatasya tu sanyasaha karmano no papadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasaha parikirtitaha dukkham ityeva yat karma kaya klesha bhayatyajet sakritva rajasantyagam naiva tyaga phalang labhet karyamityeva yat karma niyatang kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalang chaiva satyagah satviko mataha na dveshti akushalam karma kushalena nusajjate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna sangshayaha na hi deha prita shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshataha yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi tyabhidhiyate anishtamishtam mishram cha trividam karmana phalam bhavati atyaginam pretya na tu sannyasinam kvachet. Some of you may find these three verses 7, 8, 9 very helpful in understanding this very practical subject of what to give up, how much to give up, when should we become detached from life, what is real detachment. These verses are eye-openers. So verse number 7, prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. One gives up the duties, but because of illusion, then that tyaga or sannyas is in mode of ignorance. Let's read the purport here. David Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, your grace, please accept my humble obeisances. Work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which is promote one to spiritual activities, like cooking for a Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended. It is said that a person in the renounced order of life should not cook for himself. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. Correct.
Now, passion. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. Srila Prabhupada, when he took sannyas, he did not take sannyas because of this reason that family life was troublesome. He took sannyas for a different purpose. Not that my wife is not good. My children are not good. They are not supportive. So now let me just get separated. That's not the reason. Because that's not a healthy reason for taking sannyas. That's not a healthy reason. In this way, if one gives up because of seeing trouble in that situation, then that's not the right way of doing it. It will not purify the heart. So let's read the purport here. Someone else. Guru Mayu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. If by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning, one can advance his transcendental Krishna consciousness. One should not desist out of fear or because such activities are considered troublesome. Such renunciation is in the mode of passion. The result of passionate work is always miserable. If a person renounces work in that spirit, he never gets the result of renunciation. Hare Krishna.
Never gets the results of renunciation. So not because of this reason one should give up. And sometimes due to frustration, we may be inspired to give up. But then this is not really goodness. It's passion. Because of frustration, I am giving up. I don't have a higher reason to give up, a better cause to give up. So not because of fear. And we see Srila Prabhupada in the beginning days of ISKCON, he encouraged his young disciples to continue doing their job and then using that money to support the activities of Krishna consciousness. He said, because even working for Krishna and using your money for Krishna's service, that is also as good as sannyas. There's nothing wrong about it. Arjuna also fought for Krishna. No? So whatever practically has to be done, that should be done. Like when we came here with a group from Mumbai of devotees, they were young boys and girls. So I took them to meet one sannyasi, and that sannyasi gave them a short talk. So he said that if you have come to a holy place and then you're thinking, when will I go back home? Then the holy place has not really transformed you. But you've come to a holy place and you are feeling, I wish I can stay longer here. It's so nice. Then that place has really purified your heart. So Maharaj was explaining to the group that, do you want to stay? And they said, yes, we want to stay for some more days. But what to do? We go back to work, we have our job, cannot take more leaves. So then I was talking to them later, yesterday they left in the evening, we were speaking. So I said that now you go back and you earn money. So now when you earn money, but you are thinking, I'll get my salary, I'll save money from it. And then with that saving, next year again, I'll go for parikrama. I'll go to the holy place, holy dham. Then you have made your job also into bhakti. Because the goal of that job is visiting a holy place. Going to temple, taking darshan of Krishna, serving the devotees. So now that job is no longer a material job. Now that job has become transformed. Why? Because the purpose of that job has changed. The purpose is, this money I'm saving to go to a holy place, to go to Dham and engage in devotional service there. That's real renunciation. That's the purpose of renunciation. And that's the teaching of Bhagavad-gita. That has to be done. That's the difficult part to do. That's real detachment, a real, you can say, attachment to Krishna. Now the next verse. O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. Srinivas Gopal Prabhu, you can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. purport. Prescribed duties must be performed with this mentality. One should act without attachment for the result. He should be disassociated from the modes of work. A man working in Krishna conscious in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory, nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna. And when he gives up the results for Krishna, he is acting transcendently. Hare Krishna.
So we'll do okay, let's do a revision of this section. So in ignorance, what does one give up? One gives up due to illusion or ignorance, but what does one give up in ignorance? When one gives up in ignorance, what does one give up? Neha Mataji.
One gives up the duty itself.
Very good. Gives up the duty itself. Now in passion, what does one give up?
Same Prabhuji, prescribed duty.
Again, in passion also one gives up the duty. But the reason is different. Due to fear of bodily discomfort or troublesome nature of the activity. And in goodness, what does one give up?
The results.
The results.
The results, yes. Due to knowledge.
Material satisfaction.
One gives up the results. One gives up the results of one's activities. Due to knowledge, that's what one gives up. So this is the difference. What was Arjuna trying to do in the beginning of Bhagavad-gita? Give up fighting. Give up the duty. Krishna told, no, should give up the results of fighting. That was the shift that Krishna is trying to bring in Arjuna's mind.
Prabhuji, Arjuna was trying to give up the duty in the mode of passion or ignorance?
He was trying to give up the duty because of either, you can say, passion was also there, ignorance was also there. There was fear that my family members will die. Right? Troublesome nature of the activity. And also there was illusion, ignorance, not understanding what is right to what is wrong in this situation to be done. So inspired by either passion and ignorance, mixture of both, you can say, right? So he was trying to give up in that attitude, and Krishna did not encourage that. He changed, he rectified. Now we'll do an exercise. You have to discuss, or we can do a brainstorm. Okay, give some examples other than mentioned in purports 7 and 8 of verse of this chapter of renunciation in mode of ignorance and passion. So you have to give examples from real life. Renunciation in mode of ignorance and renunciation in mode of passion. We can make 2 columns. First, we can do renunciation in mode of ignorance, and then we can do renunciation in mode of passion. Okay, any examples? Renunciation in mode of ignorance.
Prabhuji, out of fear.
Out of fear, that's in passion. I want specific example. You can give a situation, a context, even mention an incident, giving up. Think.
Getting up early.
Dig deeper into your own life, where you have acted in that manner sometime.
Giving up a job because it's unable to learn something new in it, or unable to do it out of because the boss is struggling or not happy with the work or with the conditions at work.
You refer to verse number 7. We are talking about ignorance first, then we'll go to passion. So refer to verse number 7 translation. Renunciation in mode of ignorance is inspired or caused due to illusion or ignorance. Due to illusion or ignorance.
Prabhuji, we can say that out of body concept, I mean, like you think you are a body, then everything all ignorance comes.
Okay, Vrindarani Mataji, have to be more specific, Srinivas Gopal Prabhu.
Sometimes, Hare Krishna, sometimes people says that they are detached from money or position, but actually they are lazy to struggle to get them. Laziness is
not doing one's duty due to laziness.
Yes.
Okay, any duty means not working sufficiently, not earning money sufficiently. Yes, okay. What else? Any other example? Renunciation in ignorance or illusion. Rajat Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, procrastination, trying to keep postponing all activities that we need to do.
Procrastination. Okay. What
not probably not enduring enough. Thinking like suppose something is learning and then he's not enduring, putting not enough efforts to.
Not putting sufficient efforts.
Okay.
What else? Bhakti Mataji.
Half knowledge about a particular thing, so not trying to complete it.
Okay.
And lack of motivation.
Anything else? Can you give more specific examples? Giving up.
Krishna Prabhu, not chanting attentively.
No. Giving up. You are giving up. You are giving up something. Because of ignorance, because of illusion, you are giving up. Okay. Giving up the process of consciousness due to lack of knowledge of the scriptures.
Lack of self-confidence, giving up a particular duty.
Can be more specific. No, self-confidence can be inspired due to so many things.
Guruji, giving up of Shraddha duties.
Why? Because of?
Because of ignorance.
Because of ignorance, yes. Giving of duties towards ancestors due to lack of knowledge. Yes. What else?
Not taking care of our elders, parents.
Very good. Giving up service towards parents or elders. In present day times, giving up, responsibility towards wife or husband or kids, very common in these days. People don't want to take responsibility, right?
Not having children because of
not having children. We don't want to have children. Not having children.
Pets, but they don't want to have children.
Correct. They don't want to have a child. This is also something common. One person asked me this. I wish to get married, but I don't want to have kids. So giving up that duty. One should enter into Grihastha ashram. Primary reason is you should have a child. That's the primary reason. Not that I should have a wife or husband. That's not the primary reason. So the giving up on those things, or not getting married itself, live in relationship. Very common again. Very common again, not getting married. Why? Because marriage means responsibility. You'll be tied, you'll be bound. Live-in means no responsibility. I can live in with one person for 2 years, then I can leave that person, then I can go and live in with another person, right? So one due to ignorance, one does that. Lack of knowledge, giving up All right, now let's go to the next section. Giving up due to passion.
Prabhuji, not getting up early in the morning and taking early bath.
That's already mentioned in the purport. Think some other example.
Playing some games while you're watching Gita class.
So what are you giving up?
The Gita class passion is playing.
What inspires giving up? Think about the definition and then give an example. No? Verse 8, what does it define? Giving up duty due to fear of bodily discomfort.
Prabhuji, not coming out of comfort zone. Want to do everything in comfort zone only.
Prabhuji, renouncing the world. I mean, taking sannyas because of the family issues, or getting rid of all those things.
Yeah, I gave that example already. Some other example, please.
Giving up a job because of not wanting to work hard.
Giving up a job.
No fasting on auspicious days.
Okay, very good. No fasting because it is troublesome. Because it is
giving up studying or education midway because you want to enjoy elsewhere.
Giving up studies because it is troublesome.
Taking up government job rather than private job because of ease of life.
That's a good choice. It's not that one has to work hard only. You should be smart also.
No, people many times they take the government job because it is easy job, no tension, no kind of and getting the pension. So
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, yes, that's true. Okay, what else? Let's do some other more examples.
Not visiting a temple because saying that I don't like to listen to the mantras and.
Okay, what else? Anything else?
Prabhuji, no proper marriage ceremony because people now think that our makeup will go on if we will be in funerals.
Troublesome, yes. I mean, earlier they have to stay awake for a long time. Managements, so much of austerity, can't sleep, can't eat. So many.
Giving up devotional service, focusing on in-person.
Prabhuji, too attached to the varnas, like Kshatriya attached too much about it. Only Kshatriya.
So what are you giving up?
Prabhuji, giving up chanting because you find it too, mind is wavering too much, or you find it too troublesome.
Yeah, giving up devotional service. Because it is boring. Okay.
Prabhuji, not respecting.
And Prabhuji, I think not taking initiation because you don't want to be committed.
So what are you giving up?
That is passion, right?
So the question is what? Giving up something. So what are you giving up?
You are giving up your spiritual life.
Okay, not really. You are correct. I'm just wanting you to be more specific. Yes, Bhakti Mataji.
Prabhuji already mentioned the devotion.
Okay. All right. So you can think about it more, and you can also do a personal evaluation.
Because if you are initiated, you are committed to chant the 16 rounds. You are obliged to chant the 16 rounds. So.
Okay, fine. Now we'll close on
Prabhuji,
this.
not taking any decisions or the fear of the consequences.
Okay, yes, good. So not taking the required action, not doing the required thing, right? Means not taking decision and working on it, taking action, required action due to fear of consequences.
Going to a spiritual dham, but not really, taking part in the required austerities.
Giving up austerity. Okay, so we'll stop here. You can do.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, giving up the health benefits against the wrong kind of food and diet. Can that be?
But then, due to fear of bodily discomfort, please, you can look at the definition again, and this you can do as a personal evaluation in life. Whenever we think of giving up something, is it being inspired by ignorance? Is it being inspired by passion? Is it being inspired by goodness? Anything, giving up a relationship, giving up an activity, giving up a task, giving up on people, anything. What inspires us to give it up? What is that? So then we can come to know. Then we can come to know whether it is inspired by any of these: ignorance, passion, or was it goodness. So we'll go to the next. Do you have a question, Bhakti Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Someone mentioned performing, being involved in a government job and not doing a private job. Can it be otherwise?
I did not agree with that. It's not necessary. I mean, it's fine if you are.
Can it be taken the other way, that if you are in a government job, you have a fixed work, you're not more passionate, you have more time for devotion?
That's what I said, no? So it's not necessary. It depends. Okay, now next section. Not next section, just another question. So far, what do you understand from the discussion between Krishna and Arjuna? Are sannyas and tyag same or different?
Different, Prabhuji.
Different. Not the same.
Okay, so they are same. Krishna says in verse number 7, the purpose of renunciation and the renounced order of life is same. What is the purpose of tyaga? Or what is real sannyas? Real sannyas also means to give up the result. That's real sannyas. And tyaga also means to give up the result. You know, so it's the same. Purpose of sannyas and tyaga is the same. The purpose is ultimately bringing one to Krishna consciousness. It may be seen differently. Actually, all the different paths, the path of karma, the path of jnana, the path of dhyana, the path of sannyas, the goal is same. But people have started using those paths for different reasons. Like, very practical example, the purpose of yoga was to attain Bhagavan, God. But all thanks to Ramdev Baba, that he has made the goal of yoga curing cancer, curing kidney, curing liver, curing all those things, you know. But that's not the goal of yoga. The goal of yoga has always been attainment of Paramatma. Now someone will drink liquor whole life, will spoil the liver, and then, okay, I'll cure your liver, do some pranayama. That's not the goal of yoga. That's not the goal of yoga. So people then, they concoct, they change the purpose. Again, another thing. Nowadays, mantras are becoming so popular. Even in the Western world, people are chanting different mantras. Om Namah Shivaya, this and that and that and that. So many mantras they are chanting. And the only reason they chant these mantras is it puts your mind to some calmness. That's not the goal of mantras. That's just a secondary thing. It's not just to make our mind calm. That's just a secondary thing, right? So that's not the goal. So people start using the spiritual technologies, practices for some ulterior purposes, some wrong purposes. They always do that. That's not the goal. Last year, someone called me up. She was from a management school. So she wanted to teach Bhagavad-gita to her students. I think she was the director there. So I asked her, why Bhagavad-gita? So she said, because, you know, you need to have an extra edge over people. And nowadays Gita is becoming very popular. So if I can teach my students Bhagavad-gita, they'll have an extra edge over others. So again, using the book Bhagavad-gita for something different, which is not really what Krishna wanted, right? So in this way, people have this mentality, always doing it for some other reason. That has to be given up. Now, next verse number 10. The intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness. Okay, let's take a break. Then we'll start this. We'll take a break. See you in 3-4 minutes. Welcome back, please. Text 10. The intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work, nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. Inauspicious and auspicious. Now, please try to understand. If something is inauspicious, why should you not go away from it? And if something is auspicious, why should you not continue doing it? And here the verse is saying, one is situated in mode of goodness, he neither hates inauspicious work, nor is attached to auspicious work. So isn't it, a bit contradicting? If something is inauspicious, why should you not be hating it, or why should you not stay away from it? So we need to understand, sometimes there is our own conception of what is auspicious and inauspicious. And that is not always, in alignment to what is given in the scriptures. Our own idea of this is inauspicious or that is auspicious, but that may not be really what is mentioned in the scripture. So scripture may ask us to do something which we may think is inauspicious, but we should still do because the scripture is saying. We should not hate such work. And what we consider as auspicious, if the scriptures say, no, this should not be done in this situation, we should not be attached to doing that thing. Okay? People, they make their own ideas of what is good and what is bad. But that's not the real understanding. Real understanding is what the scriptures say. Now, from my experience, whatever life I have lived in this particular body, I may develop my own understanding. This is good, this is bad, this is nice, this is not so nice, this is auspicious, this is inauspicious. But that may not be anywhere close to what is given in the scriptures. That's my own understanding and my experience based on the three modes of material nature. So in that situation, what is auspicious should also be given up. And what is inauspicious should also be taken up. Okay, so a person in mode of goodness, he does not or she does not hate inauspicious things. If it's required to be done, we will do it. And it's not attached to auspicious things. If it's not required, we'll not do. Let's read the purport. Someone would like to read? Neha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
A person in Krishna consciousness or in the mode of goodness does not hate anyone or anything which troubles his body. He does work in the proper place and at the proper time without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. Such a person situated in transcendence should be understood to be most intelligent and beyond all doubts in his activities. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So one should come to this platform. Like, there is a devotee. He's not a part of this group, but he attends our Srimad Bhagavatam class, which happens on Friday. So 2 days before he came to the class, there was a break-in in his house. And lots of golden jewelry was stolen. Huge amount, It happened in just a couple of hours. They had gone for a program, and it was very strange thing to happen in that country, but still it happened. So, but he was not like, now so much has happened to me. I'm a devotee. Why it should happen to me? Let me skip the class. Let me not practice Krishna consciousness. No. Okay, it has happened. Now let's get back to our normal routine, whatever we are supposed to do. So that's how one should be. That's a person coming close to goodness. We may get such experiences in life, but they should not be affecting us so much in terms of what our duty is, what we should be doing. Okay, it should not be affecting us so much. So that's the point being mentioned here, that one continues to do one's things without the fear of something wrong that may happen. And if something happens also, one still continues to execute one's part. Okay, next verse.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question here? Prabhuji, is this not beyond the 3 modes then, what we are mentioning here?
What?
When the person is in Krishna consciousness and the person is...
When we say the person is in mode of goodness, any activity in mode of goodness, if it is done with 100% goodness, that is called transcendence. What is transcendence? Transcendence is goodness 100%.
Understood. Pure goodness.
Pure good. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is putting that example in this purport. Okay, text 11. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Text 10 and text 11, they're talking about same personality as Srila Prabhupada, not 2 different people. Text 10 and text 11, talking about the same. Truly renounced, intelligent renouncer, same. Purport. This we already have discussed before in chapter 3. Let's go to the next verse. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trividam karmana phalam. For one who is not renounced, the 3-fold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. Desirable results means results that will take one to heavenly planets. Undesirable means that will take one to hellish planets. And mixed means those results that will give one a human form of life. So this is where this section ends, the first 12 verses of this chapter, talking about the summary of Karma Yoga. What is that? The superior method of becoming free from the reactions to work is Nishkama Karma, renouncing the fruits of work, not the work itself. That's the summary. Not the work, but the fruits of work. Arjuna may question now, how is it that a work can be free from any reaction? Because every work should give some reaction. How one can do a Nishkam Karma and be free from reaction? Just, a final understanding conceptually how does this happen. So then Krishna explains this through the section of Jnana Yoga, how work which is inspired by knowledge can free us from reaction. There will not be any sinful or pious result one will get from that. So Krishna answers that question in this section, specifically in these verses 13 to 18. He summarizes from the viewpoint of jnana that you work and still remain free from reactions. So 5 causes of action. Let's read the Sanskrit verses first in this section. Panchaitani mahabaho karanani nibodhame sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidham vividhasya prithak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam shariravana manobhiryat karma prarabhate naraha nyayam va viparitang va panchayate tasya hetavaha tatraivam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tu yaha pashyati akrita buddhitvan na sa pashyati durmatihi yasya naham krito bhavo buddhiryasya nalipyate hatvapi naiman lokan nahanti nanibadhyate jnanam gyeyam parikyata trividha karma chodana karanam karma karteti trividaha karma sangraha. So Krishna explains the 5 causes of action. Does anyone remember from previous chapters the 3 causes of action or the 3 doers of action? What are those 3 doers?
Prabhuji, the soul, the super soul, and
Prakriti.
Yes, material nature. So they're the 3 doers. The same concept now Krishna explains in more detail. 5 causes of action. 5 causes. The reason to explain this to Arjuna is to make Arjuna convinced that it's not just you who do everything. And because it's not you who do or who does, the results are also not to be taken by you alone if you do it in the right attitude. 5 factors, he explains. We'll read this translation, then we'll come to this page. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. 5 factors. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidham vivitasya prithak cheshta devam chaivatara panchamam. Panchamam means 5. So what are they? Adhishthanam is the first factor, karta is the second factor, karanam is the third factor, cheshta is the fourth factor, and daivam is the 5th factor. Adhishthanam, the place of action, the body. Second, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. We'll try to understand it using this. So there can be 2 kinds of actions, right and wrong. And those right and wrong can also be done in 3 ways, either through one's body or through one's mind or through one's words. Mental actions, physical actions, verbal actions. Right and wrong. So there can be a verbal sin, mental sin, physical sin. There can be a verbal pious activity, mental pious activity, physical pious activity. So there are 5 factors for that action. Super soul, place of action, doer of action, instruments of action, effort. I explain this whole thing with a very simple example. I wish to prepare, let's say, sandesh. It's a milk preparation. I want to prepare that. So in order to prepare sandesh, do I need a place? Yes. Which is that place? The kitchen. I need a kitchen, right? I need a proper place to prepare sandesh. So for any work to be done, first of all is sthana, place. For the soul, what is that place called? Kshetra. And what is that kshetra? As per chapter 13 of Bhagavad-gita, the body. Okay, so that's the place. Now you have a kitchen to prepare sandesh. So just having a kitchen will prepare the sandesh? No, there has to be someone who will prepare the sandesh also. The doer, the cook, the sweet maker, the person, right? Isn't it? So place has to be there, and there has to be someone who wants to prepare. Now, person who wants to prepare is there, the place is there, but there are no ingredients. Can we cook? Can you make sandesh? No. Ingredients for cooking are not there, and ingredients, or let's say paraphernalia, utensils required for cooking are not there. No gas, no utensils, no spoon, nothing. So can we? No. So we need instruments. Karanam for action. We need the instruments. All right. Now all these things are there, but you just stand there. You just keep on standing there. You don't do anything. Will there be sandesh? No, you have to put efforts. You have to endeavor. Right? And finally, you want to make sandesh, you have a kitchen, you have the ingredients, you have the utensils, you want to put efforts also. If the Super Soul does not allow, it will not happen. So finally, you need sanction of Super Soul. So in this way, 5 factors are there for any action. 5 causes for any action. 5 causes must be there. Of these 5 causes, tell me those which are called Prakriti. Because we discussed there are 3 doers. So you raise your hand if you want to tell. There are 3 doers we discussed. So of these 5, which are Prakriti? You have to raise your hand first, please. Okay. Let's see who wants to answer. Lokesh Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, place of action and instruments of action.
Okay, place and instruments. Prakriti. All right. Thank you. Anju Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Cheshta and Karanam.
Okay, so Cheshta means effort.
Yes.
And then you're saying Karanam, the instruments. Okay, thank you. Vrindarani Mataji.
Adhishtanam and Karanam.
Okay, thank you. Pankaj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, other than Super Soul, all are Prakriti. Hare Krishna.
Okay. When we say here Prakriti, we mean material nature. Guru Mayum Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, except the Super Soul, all are the Prakriti, place of action, doer, instrument of action and effort.
Okay. Here we are saying Prakriti means material nature. Okay. Ashok Prabhu.
Accepting Super Soul are all material, but I have one doubt. If doer of action is soul, then that is not material also. These 2 can be transcendental, 3 can be material.
Okay, so fine. So then if you have to use little logic. If you say there are 3 doers of action, and then you say other than soul, everyone is Prakriti, everything is Prakriti. So where is the 3rd doer here then? I mean, think about it. No, I told there are 3 doers, here there are 5. This 5 includes all 3. So if you accept Super Soul, all are Prakriti, then what about the soul? So here the doer means the soul. So except the Super Soul and the Karta, all 3, which means Adhishtanam, the body, Karanam, the instruments, and Cheshta, the endeavor, that is Prakriti, material nature. So in this way, an action gets performed. Okay. But in any action, the final call is of the Supersoul, the most important, because he gives the sanction. Yes, Guru Mahaprabhu, you want to say something?
Yeah, Prabhuji, we learned that we don't do anything. We just the soul only desires, and the Prakriti.
So that desiring is also doing something.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, 100%.
So all right, like how does the Supersoul give sanction? Very simple. Have you been to bowling game or bowling alley? You know, where they take a ball and then they throw it, and then what do you call them? There are 10, you know, things kept at the end of the bowling alley, and then you have to drop them, and you get a score 10 and drop them, right?
10 pins.
10 pins. Okay. So now, for you to play that game, someone has to give you the ticket. Without that ticket, you can't play, right? Even if you want to play, you can only play if you buy the ticket. Someone has to give you permission. Yes, you play. If that person says you cannot play because last time you broke some rules here, or your body is not strong enough, or whatever it may be. So Supersoul is something like that. Okay, fine. I give you permission. That's all. Nothing more than that. But now, then it's up to you now, how you put the efforts, what you do, you know, and then what the results you get, right? So the Supersoul is just about that, giving you a sanction. Fine, a green signal. Go ahead. You can do it. And the material nature will provide, will make the arrangement. Next verse. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Right or wrong, both caused by these 5 factors. Now, when you went to play that game, you are given the permission. Now, whatever you do with the ball, it's your problem, right? You may use that ball to play the game. You may use that ball to hit someone. That's a different thing. Now the ball has been given to you. Now you do whatever you like to do with that ball. Now, if you play the game, you get a result. If you use that ball to hit someone, you get another result. So that opportunity was given. Now, how do you want to use it? It's up to you. While you are trying to hit someone, then again the person who is the overseer there may say, come on, you can't do that. That's not what the ball is meant for. But then you are adamant and you still go and hit someone, then you will be punished. So that's how the Supersoul acts. Given an opportunity, a place to do something, now what you do out of it? Do the right thing, get the reward. Do the wrong thing, get the punishment. Text 16. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. That's why people who know this, they don't easily get frustrated when they don't get the results, because they know I'm not the only person involved to produce result. There are so many other factors, right? Time is an important factor. If the proper time has not come, you may not get the result. You may have to wait for some years for that time to come. Then you'll get the result. The place might not be the right place. The people with whom you're working may not be the right people. So you may not get the result immediately, any effort you put, because it's not on you alone. There's so many factors required to produce a certain result. Taking the example of Srila Prabhupada. When he was in India, he was preaching the same message. He went to US, he was preaching the same message. But when he was in India, he did not get any result. When he went to US, it became such a hot selling thing, Krishna consciousness. Just the time was different, the place was different, the people were different, but his product was the same. Right? And then from US, he comes back to India. Now again, Indians are also taking it very nicely. So what was different? The time was different. The place was different. One has to understand this. It's not just about me alone. I can produce result. These factors are also very essential, right? So it helps us to not get frustrated easily, because we know, after all, it's not me alone who is going to produce this result. It's not me alone. There are so many factors involved. And ultimately, it is Krishna's desire. It's Krishna's will. You know, if Krishna has not allowed it to happen, it will not happen. Hari Ichha means it's the Ichha, it's a desire of Bhagavan Hari. So you let it be like that. You let it be like that. Not be super attached to getting that thing. So, lesson. Only I have done it. Such attitude shows the grossest type of illusion and ignorance. It's not just me, only I have done it. This is only because of illusion a person thinks. Next verse, Krishna says, if you work in this attitude, one who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill. Of course, he is speaking very, very specifically for Arjuna only, that Arjuna, if you kill with this attitude, you will not be killing. Nor is he bound by his actions. Nor is he bound by his actions. So let's read the purport quickly. Someone can please read this. Okay, Shravu. Your voice is breaking.
The Lord informs Arjuna that a desire.
Okay, continue.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, better.
In this verse, the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. Arjuna thought himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction within and without. If one does not know that a super sanction is there, why should he act? But one who knows the instruments of work, himself as the worker and the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Sanctioner, is perfect in doing everything. Such a person is never in illusion. Personal activity and responsibility arise from false ego and godlessness, or the lack of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of Super Soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though killing does not kill, nor is he ever affected by the reaction of such killing. When a soldier kills under the command of superior officer, he is not subject to be judged. But if a soldier kills on his own personal account, then he is certainly judged by a court of law. Hare Krishna.
Next verse, and the last for today. Jnanam gyayam parigyata trivida karma chodana karanam karma karteti trivida karma sangraha. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the three factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the three constituents of action. So I'll try to explain this using a diagram. It's a bit complicated section. So two things are mentioned in this verse: motivators of action and constituents of action. Please try to understand. It's a bit philosophical, technical. So there are three motivators of action and there are three constituents of action. First, we look at motivators. Motivators means inspires. What inspires you to do something? So three things inspire you to do anything. Three factors are there. One is the knower, second is the knowledge, and third is the object. Let's come back to Sandesh example. Okay. What will inspire me to make a Sandesh?
Taste of Sandesh.
Only the taste of Sandesh.
When you're hungry.
The Sandesh itself, right? Not just the taste of Sandesh, the Sandesh itself. It's not just about taste. the whole sandesh, that product called sandesh, right? The result. So one thing that motivates me to make a sandesh is the sandesh itself. So object, the end result, that is one motivator. That inspires one to do any action. The whole product. So that's one thing which motivates you to work, to do that thing. Second, to make sandesh, you should also know what is sandesh and how to make it. That also will inspire me. Let's say if I don't know what is sandesh, I don't have any knowledge of sandesh, will I ever be inspired to make sandesh? No. And if I don't know how to make sandesh, even if I am inspired, will I be able to make it? No. So there is knowledge. You need to have knowledge about that thing. Then it inspires you to do that thing. Okay? Right? Finally, the object is there, it exists. The knowledge is there, it exists. Sandesh exists in the world. There's so many videos that might be explaining how to make sandesh, so that knowledge also exists in the world. But then there, ultimately, it's the person who will desire to make the sandesh, to eat the sandesh. So there has to be a personal interest also. Sandesh may be a very nice, sweet, very delicious. You may also know how to make sandesh, but then you should have a desire to eat sandesh or to offer sandesh to someone. So the person himself is the motivator of the action. Three things. The person, so that's why I made it very simple. A knower, a person has knowledge, how and what of the object. These three things becomes the source of inspiration for that person to do something. Now, how do I apply that in my life? If I don't know what is chanting, if I don't know how to chant, if I don't know the goal of chanting, I'll never be inspired to chant. If I don't know what is Bhagavad-gita, how to read Bhagavad-gita, what the goal of reading Bhagavad-gita, I'll not be inspired to read Bhagavad-gita. And finally, even if I know what is Bhagavad-gita, how to read Bhagavad-gita, if I don't take that personal interest in reading or studying, again, I'll not be inspired. So these three factors are required to keep you inspired to do anything. These three things are needed. If anything is lacking, you'll not be inspired to do that thing. Okay. Within the philosophy of Bhagavad-gita, let me tell you something. So many practical life lessons are hidden. You just have to think in the right manner. That's why I don't know why people have to read books, so many inspirational books. You just read Bhagavad-gita, everything is there. You want abstract knowledge, it's there. You want life lessons, it's there. You want devotional knowledge, it's there. Everything is there. Want to be inspired to do anything, follow these three things. There has to be these three motivators. The person, the knowledge, the object, the clarity. What is that thing that I want to do? That has to be very clear. And then there are three constituents of action. Three constituents means what makes that work, what makes that action. The worker, because if the worker is not there, how will there be that action? So the worker is also a part of the action. Then the instruments with which you will work. And finally, the work itself. The work itself means the endeavor. You know, making a sandesh is an act. So there has to be the act of making sandesh, there has to be instruments for making sandesh, and there has to be a person doing these three things, these things to make the sandesh. So these are the constituents of the action. Now, from this, we understand that they are not different, they are the same. The knower and the worker are the same, the object and the work are the same. I'm not going into more details of it. I'll just leave it here. So Krishna will now what he will do, he will explain this worker and knower in three modes, the work in three modes, and the knowledge in three modes. It's a very detailed analysis that Krishna is going to do. So he's going to explain all these three factors in three modes. then do the permutation combination of that, and then it gives you a certain result. All right, so we'll stop here. Any questions or comments? Before you leave, please wait for the announcements, because many of you jump out of the class as soon as the question answer section begins. So stay in the class. Yes, any questions for today? Guru Mayum Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just a follow-up to the one that I asked before. I just want to clear my doubts. Prabhuji, our senses belongs to Rishikesh, is controlled by the Rishikesha, and also our soul, when it becomes contact with the material nature, we got contaminated. So the desire also, it means that
no, try to understand. When we said the senses are controlled by Rishikesha, we have already discussed this before. The Lord controls the senses completely for those who are pure devotees of Krishna.
I see. Okay, now I understood. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Surya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, as we have read this, that there are 5 causes of every action. Suppose someone has committed suicide, that means super soul has sanctioned it. But then why it is said that the soul doesn't get the body until that prescribed lifespan has been ended?
So the super soul has sanctioned it. We have discussed this so many times. Why just take the example of suicide? Anything which is wrong, which should not be done. So the super soul has sanctioned it. The super soul sanctioned it because that person wants to do it. He's adamant about it. So it's sanctioned. This doesn't mean that the super soul sanctioned means it's the right thing and that person will not be punished. The super soul will sanction it because the super soul has given free will. So that factor is there. Now one may say, then why give the free will? Take away the free will. So then basically then it's a desire of becoming a stone. Means I don't want to have any desires. I don't want to have any choice. I don't want to take any decision. So that goes against my nature then. So it's very simple. We need to understand it on a realistic basis, that it's not that if it is wrong, it will not be sanctioned by the super soul. Sanction here doesn't mean, okay, the super soul is very happy allowing you to do that. Sanction, what sanction means is that if the super soul stops you, you will not be able to do that thing. That's what it means. But the super soul does not interfere. That's what sanction means. Right? The super soul will not interfere. It does not interfere. But if he wants to interfere, if he wants to stop, you can try committing suicide. You'll not be able to succeed in that. You'll not be able to succeed in that. So take the same example. The person who is giving you the ticket to play the ball game, that person is sanctioning you as a player. Now, after that, in that arena, what you do? That's your choice. That person may also try to stop you doing something wrong. But then if ultimately you decide, no, I must do that thing wrong, that wrong thing, then what to do? So that freedom is there. And that freedom is given because if you have done something wrong, what will be the ultimate experience? There'll be a punishment. And that punishment will bring a lesson. It's not a permanent punishment, right? Person committed suicide, okay, not getting a body, but for how long? For a few lifetimes, for a few years. It's not an eternal hell. It's a temporary punishment. So that temporary punishment will bring reformation in one's thinking. So that becomes, if you now look at it from this perspective, then it becomes a cause of positive learning. Look at it from a long-term perspective. It becomes a cause of positive learning. Okay.
It means we can say that super soul sanction our wrong desires so that our desires may get purified.
So that we may get purified. We may learn the lesson.
Okay. Thank you.
We should learn the lesson. We should learn the lesson. Okay. Usha Mataji.
Taking the case of Sureka Mataji suicide, that she said, some people in their biography have said, I wanted to commit suicide, but I could not muster enough courage to do that. So should we take that super soul stopped him from doing that?
Yes, because that person was not sufficiently inspired. Did not get the help, or did not get the sufficient strength. So could not. Okay. The super soul basically helped that person, guided that person, stopped that person. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I just had a question in my mind that we were just discussing that there's nothing like auspicious and inauspicious.
We did not discuss anything like that. There's nothing like
if something gets averted and like I was just wondering if there are these panchans and where we are just discussing the auspicious time of doing things, these marriages. It is cut short for from so many number of days to a few days or maybe 1 or 2 days only. But then, Prabhuji, what happens that these days our priests or whatever these Karmakandi priests are, they refer to the Panchan and they will give you certain auspicious times, but we find that even that is crossed because of these entertainment that is going on. So shall we take it as that it is God's sanction, or God just leaves that, okay, you do according to
again you're asking the same question, just giving a different example.
It was just my mind whether auspicious or not.
Yeah, but then you're asking the similar question with a different example. The question is, if it's the wrong thing, then is it being sanctioned by God? Ultimately, that's the question.
Yeah.
So we already answered it.
And Prabhuji, one more, like we have Vivek Bindra, who has been linking Bhagavad-gita to business management. So we said that Bhagavad-gita is not the same spirit that Bhagavad-gita is. We are following it for our own, for our own selfishness. So is that good or bad? Just something came into my mind.
When you say something is good or something is bad, it's from which platform you're considering it?
Prabhuji, I'm considering like you are linking Bhagavad-gita for your selfish attitude, because it's linking Bhagavad-gita
try to understand in this way. If you are already studying Bhagavad-gita and your goal of studying Bhagavad-gita is that you want to make spiritual progress, then if you start using Bhagavad-gita just to make money, then it's bad for you. But if someone is a faithless person who has never studied Bhagavad-gita because that person thought Bhagavad-gita is a useless book,
yes,
and that person somehow gets inspired to study Bhagavad-gita just to make some money or because of that knowledge, then for that person it's a good thing.
Okay.
Because it has helped that person to come higher. But if you are studying Bhagavad-gita for spiritual progress and then you start using it for material things, then it has made you go lower. So then it's not good for you.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So poison for one, medicine for another.
For the other. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
It depends where you are, who you are. Right? It depends on that. Srinivas Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I'm just thinking this intelligence renouncer, is it the example we can take Bali Maharaj, who is rejecting his guru's order for like inauspicious, that suits this example?
Yes, his renunciation was totally a transcendental activity. He renounced for the pleasure of Krishna. He renounced his guru also. And actually, he did not renounce his guru. His guru was no longer a guru.
Yeah.
Because
So
his
he's
guru was
intelligent to renounce.
he was guiding in a wrong manner. No longer.
Okay, Guruji, thank you.
Next, David Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace, please accept my humble obeisances. Your Grace, please, going back to 17, concerning it described that if a soldier is killed because he killed because he is commanded by a superior, so he's not charged, he's not judge of the killing. So in this case, who is responsible for the killing? Because the superior is also commanded by other superiors. So in this case, can you put more light there, because I'm not really clear?
Sripad is giving an example to explain that if you are doing a duty which is inspired by your authority, then the result also goes to the authority.
Oh, okay.
So basically here, let's take the example of Arjuna. Arjuna is fighting because Krishna is telling.
Yes.
So the result of war, if there is any sin also involved in it, it will go to whom? Krishna.
To the one, yeah, Krishna, yes.
Arjuna is free, right?
Yes, yes.
So that's what Prabhupada is telling. Just give you an example to explain that when you work inspired by a higher authority, then you don't have to suffer the reactions of that work. It's a conceptual explanation, trying to convince Arjuna, when you work in Nishkama spirit, in the spirit of detachment for the sake of duty, then that work will not bring a reaction.
Oh, okay. Okay, so in this way, it is in a transcendental form.
Mm.
Okay, because I was a bit confused, because if you bring it to our normal life, like your superior at some place or something, command you to do something which is wrong. And
No, the superior has to be correct. No, if someone has commanded you to do something which is wrong, then if you are in a situation to not listen to that command, then you should not listen to that command.
Oh, okay.
But if you are forced and you cannot do anything, then what to do? You'll not be blamed for it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if no more questions, we'll stop. There was some other question. If a person committed suicide, the soul don't get body until its whole balanced time period of that body, isn't it, Prabhu? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's what is explained. My question is that this soul, after getting next body, will this soul remember this punishment, what happened in previous life? May remember, may not remember. The idea is not about remembering it. The idea is you have learned the lesson. Learning the lesson again doesn't mean you have memorized the lesson. Learning the lesson means you've gone through the required purification. So you don't do it again. That's called learning the lesson. Like let me give an example. Very crude example. I have a habit of, let's say, stealing money. Okay. Let's say I have that habit. Now, I stole money, I got punished. Is it important for me to remember the punishment? Or what is more important for me, that once I am punished, I should give up that habit? What will you call purification? Memory of punishment or transformation of heart? What is actual purification? I should remember, yes, I was beaten with a stake, 20 on my back, 10 on my head. Is that the purification part? Or change in heart? Now I don't want to steal anymore. So if the soul has learned that lesson, does the soul really have to remember all those punishments or beatings. No, the task is done. The goal is achieved. You have learned your lesson. Now, why do you have to remember all those things, right? So it's not necessary for me to remember, because once I have gone through that transformation, now I will not steal anymore. So when one person moves from one body to another body, there are many things which are carried in the subtle mind, in the subtle body, as a lesson, as an experience. You may not remember the exact details of that experience, but that's not required. That's not required. Like, how many of us remember every single score we got in every single test on mathematics? Is that important? Or it's important to remember mathematics, the subject? Or is it important? Or no, okay, first unit test 49.5 and second was 46 and then third 43. That memory is useless. What is the use of that memory? What is to be remembered is mathematics. If you remember it, done. Okay. All right. Thank you. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m.
You're supposed to give us some announcements.
Announcement.
Oh, yes, announcements. So yes, we have just maybe 6 more classes to go. Then this unit will be over. So you'll have your exams by March end or first week of April. You start preparing for those exams, the essays and the shloka exams and the CBA. So that's one thing. So you can start preparing for the winding up of this unit also. And for Gita Sastri students, those of you who have not done the essay, you will have to do the essay. I can resend the question. Also for Bhakti Sastri, those who are doing as a listener, you have your one essay on Bhagavad-gita to do. So you have to do that to complete the study of Bhagavad-gita. So I'll send that question. If you have not submitted that essay, do submit. If you have submitted, resubmit, but I don't think many have submitted. So you'll have to do that to complete this course, right? And the quizzes also, please don't keep them pending. 19 quizzes are there, 18 chapters and 1 introduction. So you have to submit that also. Those marks will get added to your final score sheet, whether you're Gita Sastri, Bhakti Sastri, listener, or anyone. Those marks will get added to your other scores. So please do that also. We'll send you a reminder later as well about that. And the final thing which I wanted to announce is I needed help from you, a favor from you. We needed some testimonials from our students about anything related to Simple Vedas, our courses, because we will be, Krishna will be launching a website on Gaur Purnima. So we want to put those testimonials in the courses section for people to be inspired to join more those courses. So you can give 2 kinds of testimonials. One can be a written one. I'll send you the guidelines for that. Or it can be a video testimonial where you record a short video of yourself and you send it to us. So then we can put it on the website. The website, the work has been going on for a long time. I started in November of 2021. So now it's almost been like 15, 16 months of work. And it was not an easy journey. So many people came and left. And but now we are trying to bring it together. So the major challenge was because I wanted this website to be very, not just a very simple basic website, but lots of features which will help the students, making the course more accessible for them, the material, the recordings, the submissions, because for adults, it's a big challenge to find time to do such courses because they have so many problems in life, responsibilities in life. For a student, it's easy because their life is just for studies. But for someone who's grown up, you have so many things to do in life. And when the courses are not done properly, then it becomes another big headache, So we wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So that's why we made a website. And also in future, we may have an app, a mobile app for you to do the courses. So we request the devotees to send us some testimonials to put on that. And when it gets launched, I'm sure you will like it. It will make your study very easy. You'll have many features which will make your study very, very easy. So pray for it that it will get done. 7 deadlines, we could not make it. Now it's the 8th deadline, So let's see if we can make it this time. So you can pray for the successful launch of the website. All right. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.